Hey everyone, it's Dylan with Story Hustler here, and we just wanted to do a quick recap of day 3 of the Samuelites trial. Specifically, Liddell, Bistline Jr., and Torrance, Bistline are on trial right now. They are followers of Samuel Bateman, the wannabe prophet. We have covered amply on our YouTube channel, so if you want more information, go to that. But again, we just wanted to do a quick day 3 recap and tell you what the witnesses had to say in their testimonies. To start off, they finished up with Julia Johnson, who was the witness that was on the stand all day yesterday. They finished the cross examination from both defenses and the redirect and the jury question. So they got all of that done. And then they moved on to Liddell Bistline Jr.'s two children. They had Dolly Bistline and Moroni Bistline testify against their father. And basically, they just painted this picture that their dad became more crazed following Sam. The longer he followed Sam, the more crazed he became. And they started to distance themselves from Sam and from Liddell himself. They were even kept away from their younger siblings because they were thought to be bad influences by their parents because they didn't follow the FLDS religion. But they just painted this picture of how Liddell slowly slipped further and further into Sam's control. Moroni, the son, specifically had a very interesting point. He said that his dad, in one of their phone calls, had said that 9-year-olds should be married. By the time a girl is 9 years old, she should be married to older men, basically. So I guess not advocating for pedophilia directly, but yes, directly. So they had some interesting points and really helped establish who Liddell was and who he became under the influence of Sam. And then we moved on to Sam's daughter and his ex-wife. Now, something interesting about Sam's daughter is that actually, before Sam went on his crazed 3-year crime spree, what kind of started it was he went to Canada with his daughter, and on the way home, they were alone in the car, and he told his daughter that he wanted to marry her and have kids with her. Now, this is his biological daughter, so that is incest above and beyond underage brides. So he had said that specifically to her and told her not to tell her mom. Sam ended up telling her mom, who was his wife at the time, Lydia. Lydia then got a restraining order and filed for divorce from Sam because of what he said about their daughter, Dianica, and wanting to marry her, and raised red flags to police. And they actually, Dianica and Lydia, both went in and were interviewed by police about this instance to kind of raise the red flag about who Sam was and what his ideologies were starting to become. So they gave police proof before any of these crime sprees really started. And another interesting fact is when Lydia was asked who she still follows to this day, she said she's still an active FLDS member and she still follows Warren. When asked why Warren was currently in prison in Texas, for what reason, she said Warren was an innocent person. So, a little bit of an interesting dynamic there, but that was a side note. Just wanted to add that. And then it went to Mel Bine, who was a young girl that Samuel Bateman really, really wanted to be his wife. He sought after her heavily, and a lot of people pressured her to marry Sam. She rejected him at every turn. Anytime she could, she rejected him. She did eventually give in and marry Sam because of Liddell's pressure and Torrance's pressure. People pressured her into this marriage, and she just said, I don't want to be pressured anymore. Fine, I'll do it. She never had sex with Sam. She never kissed Sam. She never slept in the same bed as Sam. She really did just reject Sam any way she could. And then after we got done with Mikkel and her testimony, Sergeant David Wilkinson, a sergeant from the Colorado City and Hilldale Police Force, came onto the stand and testified and just talked about all the different reports that town people were giving, the interview with Dianica and Lydia, and just how they never really had enough evidence to actually charge Sam with a crime or go after him or execute search warrants. But to us, it just sounded like there was evidence and evidence and evidence, and they just kept asking for more. But, no one was obviously in those meetings except for the people they interviewed. So we'll withhold our judgment until we know the full timeline. But it did seem a little bit suspicious. And finally, they ended with Christine Marie, who was the filmmaker that went in with her husband and tried to. They were making a documentary on the town overall and kind of the past and the injustices and overall messages of that. And it kind of took a turn when they got to know Sam. And Sam really brought them in and was like, I want you to film my family. And they didn't want to at first. They were hesitant. They said they didn't want to give him a platform. They didn't like his message. It wasn't what their doc was about. But then they got suspicious that some nefarious things were going on behind closed doors. And they were like, maybe we should start to record this. And have evidence, tangible evidence that we can take to officials to possibly bring Sam down. So that's exactly what they did. They're in the middle of Christine Marie's testimony, and we'll start cross-examination and redirects tomorrow and hopefully finish up with her testimony and move on to some of the other witnesses. But again, just wanted to give you a little day 3 recap. It was a very interesting day filled with tons of information, and we'll have more on that coming up this week.